Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Dez Reacts, man. I'm sorry for being gone for so long. Hope you guys forgive me. But you know, I'm back. That's what matters. And today's video, we got the guy Fawkes, dude, man. So if you guys didn't know, in my last video, the greatest raid of all time, part 2, I made a mention about like, what is the November 5th? Why is that so important? So every one of you guys referred me to watch a video on this. So man, this is gonna be pretty crazy. Apparently this dude tried like killing a king or something. So I know it's about to be wild. So this is called the horrific execution and torture of Guy Fawkes. So what I know about this video, I know it's gonna break into like exactly what happened, why this is a thing, and then it's gonna go into his execution and torture, which is pretty crazy. Like, I love medieval stuff, and I'm very interested in this, man. If you guys enjoy my content, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment on what other videos you guys might want me to react to, or just your thoughts and reactions on this one. Another exciting announcement, man. First of all, we're at 3.2k subs. I haven't updated that yet. I really appreciate you guys for all the love and support, man. Appreciate the coffees and supporting the channel. If you guys like to support the channel, links right here or links in the bio. But try to get the 4k by November. But yeah, man, so the announcement I want to talk about, we might be having like a sponsored little video coming out soon where I'm gonna try snacks from across the world. It's gonna be pretty awesome. Let me know what you guys think about it. And I feel like it'd be pretty dope, you know, maybe try some like Asian snacks, some snacks from the UK, you know, something crazy. And it's gonna be a sponsored stream, so just be ready, prepare for that. But again, I'm sorry for being gone for so long, guys. I really love you guys. And without further ado, let's get it. The horrific execution and torture of Guy Fawkes.
Remember the 5th of November, gunpowder, treason and plot. Every year in the UK.
Is that what you guys say? Do you guys, is that a saying you guys said, like when you guys are kids or something? Remember the 5th of November for gunpowder, treason and plot? Let me know in the comments if that's true.
UK bonfire night is celebrated and commemorated, and it's a time in which fireworks are set off and excitement is had. However, the history behind this commemoration is rather sinister. Guy Fawkes is known most commonly for being the most famous conspirator who worked to blow up the Houses of Parliament and subsequently blow up the King, Queen, church leaders, many nobles, and bring down the monarchy and the government. He was discovered literally sitting next to 36 kegs of gunpowder, which had been placed in a room below the Houses of Lords, in the cellars of the Palace of Westminster. He was literally caught red-handed, and allegedly even with a box of matches in his pocket. However, after his capture, the story of Guy Fawkes takes a much darker, sadistic, and brutal turn. Join us today as we look at the torture and execution of Guy Fawkes. And remember, to support our channel, please make sure...
So I didn't know he was trying to... I thought he was just trying to kill the king. So he's trying to kill church members and all that too? Like, this dude's a psycho. I thought he was just trying to kill a king. He's trying to take away the whole entire monarchy, I guess, and start from scratch. This dude is wild. Oh yeah, it's about to be good.
Sure to subscribe. There are a couple of accounts about when the searches that discovered the gunpowder and Fawkes took place, but an anonymous letter was what tipped off the authorities about the plot, and it was on the morning of the 5th of November 1605 in which Fawkes was caught red-handed. He had been put in charge of guarding the gunpowder that was being stockpiled and was subsequently arrested.
That dude was ugly as hell, boy. Oh my gosh. He has some terrible genes. Look at him. That mofo ugly. I'm sorry if I offended anybody, but he's ugly. He just looks like he's up to no good. If I saw this dude, first of all, he's not guarding my gunpowder. If I saw this dude next to some gunpowder, I'd arrest his ass too, I promise. He looked like a psycho.
He was dressed in riding gear as if he was just about to run off and hide away. He was discovered along with 36 barrels of gunpowder, which would have unleashed huge damage. Upon being discovered, he gave his name as John Johnson and was first interviewed and scrutinised by the members of the King's Privy Chamber.
You couldn't come up with a better fake name than that? Yeah, my name is John Johnson. That's the most basic name you could probably think of. Was John Johnson.
During these initial inquiries, he remained defiant and would refuse to communicate with the interviewers, and would also be extremely difficult towards his interrogators. Following Tudor monarch Elizabeth I's religious settlement, Catholics were made to worship in secret, and the whole gunpowder plot's motives are ingrained in religion. James I had initially refused, following his crowning as King of England, to grant Catholics more religious tolerance and freedom. The hope in the gunpowder plot was that following the murder of the king and much of the government, then Parliament would provide English Catholics with a chance to take over the country, deposing the Protestant-led monarchy. When Fawkes was taken to the king and asked about what he was doing in the cellars, he boldly replied, "I wish to blow up the Scottish king and all of his Scottish lords back to Scotland."
Whoa. He didn't hold back. He just straight up told him, like, hey, bro, I ain't messing with you. I'm trying to kill all you guys. Get you guys up out of here. Unless he's talking about a different king than the one that was just talked about. I could be mistaken. The Scottish king could be a different king, you know, King James, you know, he could not. I don't know if King James is, you know, English or Scottish, or I don't know. You guys let me know. I could just be completely wrong.
He also expressed his regret at having failed, yet James I admired his Roman resolution and honesty to say this to the king's face.
So the king liked that he is honest, at least. What?
Fawkes would remain relatively quiet throughout the 6th of November 1605, and records show that he would continue to deny implicating his friends and co-conspirators in the attempted plot, and he refused to give any names. In a letter on the 6th of November, James I wrote, "The gentle tortures are to be first used unto him, and thus by steps extended to greater ones, and so God speed your good work." James, before more details emerged, had issued torture to be used upon Guy Fawkes in order to gain more information from him.
Yeah, nowadays, that's a huge no-no in the Western worlds. Like, you are not allowed to torture people to get info. Which, who knows what, you know, our militaries do. They say they don't, but I mean, in wartime, I feel like, you know, who knows, you know, that's just another story. But for a king to just authorize, like, yeah, go ahead and torture him until he tells us exactly his reasonings and exactly who was involved. I understand, just because, you know, it's a personal attack against him and his reign. Like, he knows this guy wanted to kill him and all of his boys. So, I don't know, man. What do you guys think? You think torture is necessary? You think it was authorized? You think he should have been publicly executed like he was? I know that was just the way of life back in that day, but man, that's why I call them the medieval days, I guess.
And to gain them crucial names of the co-conspirators. For this, Fawkes was transferred over to the Tower of London, and the king himself would even compile a list of questions.
I'm sorry for pausing so much. Is that like that's like actual castle? Like, that was around in that time as well? Or is that like renovated and new?
Questions to ask this so-called man named Johnson.
That's awesome.
Who Fawkes still maintained was his name. On the 7th, a few more details did emerge about the plot during interrogation. It was discovered that the plan had begun 18 months before and was confined to 5 people at first, and then it grew and grew, and all these members swore their secrecy. It also came out that they planned on putting Princess Elizabeth on the throne, James's daughter, and that she would marry an English Catholic. Sir William Wadd was the Lieutenant of the Tower of London, and he led much of the interrogation of Fawkes in the Great Hall of the Queen's House that overlooks Tower Green, the site in which the execution of 3 Tudor queens took place. It was important at this time that a confession was obtained from Fawkes, so torture was applied inside the tower's walls.
Oh, wait. Are those like houses? So that's exactly how it was back in the 1600s, huh? Like those houses? And do people still live in those houses today? Let me know in the comments. I feel like that was just reviewing and show, like this part. This is probably just like, you know, a historical landmark. No one could live there, only for tours. But just let me know. Like, that's pretty wild.
The Tudor period,
it looks really old.
The tower have a notorious reputation due to the torture and execution or beheadings that happened inside the tower's walls. Torture was used as a way to break a prisoner's resolve, and sometimes even the threat would be enough. Some were tortured so harshly that they would even die from their injuries sustained. Initially, lighter torture methods were used upon Fawkes, such as using devices such as the manacles. These were chains that hung from the walls, in which a prisoner's hands would be hung from the wall for a long period of time.
It would hurt.
Within a number of minutes, the pain would have been excruciating from this, but the damage wasn't as severe as other methods. Whilst imprisoned, Fawkes would tell William Wadd that every night he had prayed that by planning to blow up the king, he was saving his own soul and helping to advance the Catholic faith. He was told that he would be interrogated until the lieutenant of the tower had gotten the inward secrets of his thoughts and all of his accomplices.
Okay, so my question is, Catholicism, he's a Catholic, Guy Fawkes, and he wanted that to be the primary, religion, I guess. What was the religion of, what was the national religion of the time? Like, because I feel like Christianity, Catholicism, that, it goes hand in hand. Like, all Christian means is Christ-like. And, if you're a Catholic and you're living for God or whatever, that's Christ-like. So I feel like it's just a subsect of Christianity. But what was the national religion for England at the time? Let me know.
From this, it's almost certain that Fawkes suffered on the rack. Usually the threat of the rack was enough for people to confess all of their crimes and secrets, but Fawkes would undergo a horrific experience on the rack which would break him. Fawkes would be laid out on a device with a rope tied to his arms and legs. The rack would then stretch out his limbs, ripping his arms and legs from their sockets, the sinews in his muscles ripping with every brutal turn.
Oh, bruh. Imagine you got little ropes tied to your feet and your hands, bro, and they just like cranking that joint. Look at him with the stick. He got the stick in the thing. I feel like they're doing it on both sides, and they're just like stretching him out, watching his limbs dislocate, watching his ACLs, ankle sockets just tear. Oh my gosh. And it said you could hear it. That's brutal.
His bones could have even snapped during this process, and other tortures could have been applied, such as burning with torches and candles, and fingernails or toenails being torn out.
While he's like that, tearing out his toenails and fingernails, putting a torch to him. Bruh, just hang him at this point.
The rack was enough though. After managing to take a couple of days of extreme torture, Guy Fawkes would name his co-conspirators.
Wow.
Fawkes was left completely broken following his torture, and he was so injured and afflicted by his ordeal that his signature was barely evident when he signed his confession.
Is that a legit signature?
His signature points to the fact that he suffered greatly at the hands of his...
Okay, I think that's his signature, like, on the very bottom of that, Whoa. That's his actual signature. How much money do you think that's worth? Or does the government just keep it, Let me know in the comments. Like, I feel like that'd be worth millions on millions. This dude's he's infamous.
Interrogators. The trial of Guy Fawkes and a number of his co-conspirators would not go well, with the defendants all being found guilty. Due to being found guilty of high treason, they would be sentenced to a horrific death. The condemned were to be drawn backwards to their death by a horse, their heads near to the ground. Their genitals were then to be cut off and burned before their eyes, and their bowels and hearts removed. They would then be decapitated, and the dismembered parts of their bodies displayed, so that they might be food for the crows and ravens.
They cut what off? As a man, I couldn't fathom getting my, chopped off. The stick and the cherries. And you're watching them burn in a fire right in front of your face before you get beheaded and your head put on a pike. Oh my gosh. I never heard of that. I gotta rewind that a little bit.
And their bowels and hearts condemned were to be drawn backwards to their death by a horse, their heads near to the ground. Their genitals were then to be cut off and burned before their eyes, and their bowels and hearts removed. They would then be decapitated, and the dismembered parts of their bodies displayed, so that they might be food for the crows and ravens. On the 31st of January 1606, Fawkes and the 3 others were dragged from the Tower of London on hurdles to the Old Palace Yard at Westminster, and were forced to see the building they'd attempted to destroy.
Damn.
His fellow plotters were then hanged and quartered. Fawkes must have been a completely broken and severely injured man following the drawing and also his torture, and he was the last one to stand on the scaffold, to be hung until almost dead. As his last moments were about to unfold, he began to climb the ladder, and he appealed for forgiveness of the king and state, and also promised to uphold his Catholic practices. Whilst climbing to the noose, the drama would unfold. Weakened by his torture, but still having his wits about him, Guy Fawkes jumped from the scaffold. His neck broke, and he fell to his death, being killed instantly, and this spared him the horrific ordeal of his hanging and quartering. He was still quartered following this, with his lifeless body being cut into bits, and the body parts distributed to the 4 corners of the kingdom for public display as a deterrent.
Whoa.
The legacy of the gunpowder plot is still celebrated today. It's a real what if. What if the conspirators had managed to blow up the king, queen and majority of the government? The country today could be incredibly different because of these possible acts, should they have been carried out. Ultimately though, the downfall, torture and execution of Guy Fawkes really does show us that plotting to conspire against the monarchy was an incredibly dangerous thing, and one in which you could greatly suffer for. Once again, thanks for watching.
Bruh, that was freaking crazy. Let me know what you guys think, man. Do you guys think, what do you think your guys' government would look like today if this dude and his conspirators were successful? Would it be the, England, the UK we all know and love today, or something crazy else would have happened? I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think, man. I really enjoyed this one. Thank you guys for recommending this video. It's pretty crazy. If you guys enjoy my content, please smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment. If you have to support the channel, you can. Links right here, links in the bio. I really hope you guys have a great week and a great weekend. I'm gonna try to get more videos out this weekend though, for real. I love you guys, but I hope you guys have a great day. Peace.